The Phillies lose to the Nats. Unfortunately, not the only loss in Philadelphia sports yesterday. Elliott Shore-Parks, listen to him on the afternoon show, not pulling any punches, describing what he saw at training camp with the Eagles-Browns joint practice.
Today was a blowout by the Browns. The Browns won this practice considerably more than the Eagles won their practice yesterday. And I think for the 2 days overall, the Browns outplayed the Eagles. And I thought there was a stretch of practice today that really kind of showed what the day was like. So the first one, Joe Flacco versus the Eagles' first-team defense. Jerry Jeudy beats Quinyon Mitchell for about a 15-ish, 20-yard slant over the middle, takes it in for a touchdown. So that's on one field. Then on the field next to that, the Eagles' first-team offense is going against the Browns' first-team defense. Jalen Hurts drops back, throws it to Devontae in the corner of the end zone, knocked out by Denzel Ward, incomplete. Back to the other field. Joe Flacco drops back. Touchdown to Njoku in the front corner of the end zone. So that's a touchdown. Then the Browns go for two. They get that with some trick play where they had like a double reverse and the guy ran it in. The Browns were the better team today. They outplayed the Eagles, and I thought they brought more energy than the Eagles did. I have seen the Eagles practice against the Browns 2 days in a row. It happened in 2023. 2023, I thought the Browns won day one, but the Eagles came back in day two and dominated that second practice. I thought the Eagles would come out today with a better performance, and they did.
To be playing better, they're going to need him to play well. And then people, gave their opinions on Jalen in particular. Hugh, what do you make in general, right? So in general, training camp and the joint practices are, and when they really do the 11 on 11, it's the closest thing we get until the regular season, right? Because they don't put the starters out there in the preseason games.
Agree.
So yesterday, and I want to make sure, because we had a caller yesterday, Hugh, that said, well, you're just using Elliott's opinion. There's other people out there. So I want to read one thing and then give your take. Brandon Lee Gouton, Eagles training camp practice notes. Browns dominate the day. I saw also Jeff McClain of the Inquirer. You were on his podcast, weren't you? Didn't you on Jeff's podcast?
Yeah, we made friends.
Oh, good. That I like that. Jeff McClain wrote this in his column this morning. Quote, I don't want to make a bigger deal out of practice than necessary. The Eagles have done a pretty good job the last several seasons despite having some of their lighter camps in the NFL. They've won without playing their starters in the preseason. But scrimmages with other teams have foretold how their seasons would go since Nick Sirianni became the head coach. The Eagles mostly dominated the New England Patriots a year ago. They had mixed results against the Browns and Colts in 2023. They outplayed the Browns and Dolphins in 2022, and they were better than the lowly New York Jets in 2021. So, Brandon Lee Gouton from Bleeding Green Nation says, Eagles got dominated yesterday. Jeff McClain says something very similar to what Elliott always says, which is that the joint practices have kind of told the story of what's to come. When they dominate them, they dominate the season. When they struggle a little bit, it's been more of a slog. So make sure everyone knows it's not just Elliott saying this. Other people are there. Very similar people, very similar reporters saying the same thing at a camp. Hugh, how much does this all matter? Does the way the Eagles look in training camp matter?
And I want to throw another person's name out there, Sal Palantonio.
There you go.
Was reporting that as well. The Eagles struggled in practice yesterday.
It was pretty, everyone there is pretty much the same.
I look at it like this. There's a lot that goes on in these practices that we are not privy to be totally honest. And that's not an excuse. That's just what it is. And you have to understand where the Browns are coming from. The Eagles are here, as I use visual aids on a radio show.
Well, for the you people.
Yeah, for the you people. The Eagles are here. The Browns are trying to get to the Eagles level. So
and they're far away.
They're far away. Yeah. But I will tell you this. When we were starting our journey to become a relevant team, the Philadelphia Eagles, that is, not the Jets, but you go into seasons and you use certain teams as measuring sticks, to see where you are and see how much better you can be. That's what the Eagles are now. I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody that the preseason doesn't matter, but I will say this. There's a lot that happens in the preseason, in these practices that are not scripted, they're not game planned for, and so it's one of those things where you look at it and the fans want to know what's going on at practice, and that's Elliott's job, that's Sal's job, that's every writer out there's job is to tell the people what they see at practice. And they do a great job of doing that. But I'm here to tell you, as a former player, a lot of times these practices aren't game plan. And a lot of times they want to see how players act or respond in adverse situations. Some of it's probably just, hey, let's just let them play. Mm-hmm. We're going to run some stunts in this drill. We're not going to tell you when they're happening, because they try to simulate live action as much as they possibly can. So that's not me saying that it's not important. That's me telling you that there's a lot that is not prepared for in these practices.
So I understand that. And it's a small sample, right? It's not a full game. They go, I think there was like 5 or 6 periods of 11 on 11. Mm-hmm. So, you get a couple of bad ones, or you have a bad block, or someone throws a pick and then the whole thing looks bad. I get that. I would feel better, though, if the Eagles beat up the Browns yesterday. Like, the Browns supposed to be bad. In fact, this is a week where there's a lot of joint practices around the NFL, right? The teams that are playing each other this week, a lot of those teams will do the joint practice.
Yes.
One of them that's going on this week around the same time as the Eagles is there's a Dolphins-Lions game tonight or tomorrow, whatever, right? So they did a joint practice, and I was reading about that practice. And if you just look at those two teams, you would think, all right, the Lions are a Super Bowl contender, Dolphins not so much. It played out that way. I was reading all the reports this morning. It was like the Lions just dominated the Dolphins. They crushed them. Their defense looked good. Goff looked good. Now, again, doesn't mean that that's going to play out that way during the season, but that's what you'd expect. The Lions should beat the crap out of the Dolphins. They were better. We didn't get that yesterday. And I guess, for me, my antenna is up. I'm not trying to say the Eagles season is canceled or Jalen Hurts is going to have a good season, but my antenna is up. I just want someone that's there every day. Jeff McClain, Brandon Lee Gouton, Sheil Kapati, I like them all. Elliott's our guy here. Someone to tell me the Eagles look great. Jalen Hurts looks great. They're firing all cylinders. Nobody's telling me that. So does this matter? I think for everyone it probably matters a different amount. But yeah, it matters. The Eagles are getting ready to defend their championship. They have questions. And it seems like a lot of their question marks, passing game, corner, safety, edge rusher, they remain questions as we get close to regular season. And by the way, 3 weeks from today, we're reacting to the first game. There's not 6 weeks to go. We're not far away from the start of the regular season here. 215-592-9494. Kyle, where do you come down on all this as the Eagles, as you heard, got blown out by the Browns yesterday?
I'm appalled that Hugh Douglas is trying to sugarcoat this.
A company man?
Blown out by the Browns, Joe?
Blown out.
I mean, I don't know how they're going to recover from this. It's a disaster.
Cancel the season?
Starting to have some serious concerns. But honestly, like I do find it funny that when we hear stuff about how they're not playing well, I think a lot of people tend to go, whatever, it's just training camp, it don't matter, But if they were playing well, people would be revved up, ready to go for the season. Like, oh man, the offense is smooth. This is great.
Yep.
Jalen's picking up the stuff from the new offensive coordinator. Like, I think people would be happy. I'm with you. Like, I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to I would rather hear that they look good.
Yeah. And I do think it's, you could take this with a grain of salt. You could say it's only been 4 years or 5 years of sample. Jeff, in his Inquirer column, wrote the same thing Elliott says us all the time. The years their practices have looked better have been the years they've gotten to the Super Bowl. The years they have been more choppy in training camp, 21 and 23, are the years they have not been as great. I mean, that resonates to me. That the years they have been more buttoned up in training camp tend to end up the years they ended up in the Super Bowl with Sirianni. Again, it's only 4 years. If this plays out over 10, that's a larger sample. But, Hugh, I at least think that's interesting, that the years they've looked better in camp under Sirianni, it's worked out that they've had great seasons. And the 2 years where it's been more like this, it hasn't been as great.
Can I say this without being accused?
Nope. Absolutely not.
Because this is the reality of it.
No, go ahead.
Think about it like this. And this is not an excuse. This is just a fact.
Well, let me write this down.
The Eagles training, their offseason wasn't as long as the Cleveland Browns, right? So the Browns are coming in probably a little bit fresher. Not an excuse. This is a fact.
No, I think this is real, yeah.
And I remember before training camp even started, we would have conversations, Joe, and I said I would not be surprised if the Eagles got off to a slow start. And I forgot what you said exactly, but you was like, that would be unacceptable.
Totally unacceptable.
Because of the schedule that we have.
Well, so, yeah, but the schedule's hard early on.
But that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
Just think about it like this. And again, This is not an excuse, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be killed on YouTube and you people about making excuses.
Come on, get them.
They just got their Super Bowl rings like 4 days before they went to training camp. That was the mantra going in. Hey, put it behind you. Like, you're trying to get, 70 people, 80 people, 90 people to all row in the same direction?
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of guys that row in that direction, but then you're going to have some guys that are still trying to get caught up.
So what do we do if in 3 weeks, 20 days from now, they come out flat against the Cowboys?
They're not losing to the Cowboys.
Well, I don't think so either.
But
the Cowboys are better than the Browns.
But
the Cowboys, right? We know that.
But
they have a real quarterback.
We'll see.
But it might be a slaughter. I can't wait to see Shaq run down the street in this dress that he said he gonna wear. Because he wearing that dress.
Yeah, I would like not to see
fella.
that. It's just me.
If anybody knows Shaq, clip this and send it to him. Big fella, you wearing a dress. You gonna wear that dress because that's what you want to do. And we're gonna make your wish come true. Because you said what he said twice. He said something about wearing a dress. So, big dog, we gonna put you in a dress because they're not losing to the Cowboys now.
Excuse
it
me.
might be a little bit of a slog because they might get off to a slow start.
I need a win in that game. But they're
gonna get a win.
All right,
they're gonna get a win.
Kyle said something. I think I said something similar towards the end of the show yesterday, specifically about Hurts. If Hurts or the offense were lighting it up, we would. It would I think it's hypocritical to say it doesn't matter when I think the reaction would be. Look how good they look. They're going to be the best team in the NFL again. Jalen's going to take that next step.
You idiot's best quarterback in the league.
What we saw at the end of last season, the Super Bowl and title game, that was just the beginning. But now it doesn't matter because they're not playing well. Again, it's the Cleveland Browns. I mean, they might be the worst team in the sport. I like Joe Flacco, but let's be real. I mean, Joe Flacco should not be moving the football in the Eagles' defense. He's 40. Yeah. His kid said he's trash. Richie followed him in the bathroom. I mean, like...
You know football's back when Hugh Douglas is trying to sugarcoat a blowout.
I am not trying to
Did you hear, Ellie? Can we hear the beginning again? They got blown out by the Browns, Hugh.
Today was a blowout by the Browns.
We need to say that as a drop. Today was a blowout by the Browns. All right, 215-592-9494. Does training camp matter? I mean, yesterday we spoke about Hurts specifically, but just in general, the Eagles didn't play well in the joint practice against the Browns. According to everyone, not just Elliott, does it matter? It does matter to me. Now it's levels of mattering, right? It doesn't matter as much as a Week 5 loss to the Broncos. It does matter. I want the Eagles to look as good as they can at all times, and right now they're clearly not where they need to be. He was trying to give us perspective. We call it excuses here.
Sugarcoating a blowout, dude. Yeah. A blowout, Douglas.
Again, it wasn't close. You can't say it was a play or two here or there. It was a blowout.
Man, listen, the one thing that I know not to do
blowout
is when we get like this to push back too much because it's just going to get ridiculous.
Well, look, you know what? Maybe this will be the turning point, just like the Browns game last
year. The turning point. They go off and they run the table.
Sirianni.
Southbound and down.
When did the Eagles season turn around in 2025? Well, the blowout to the Browns in August, of course.
You got to admit, though, that was a strong take.
I loved it. When I heard it hit. They got blown out today. Of course, Elliott with his reaction to practice.